Alright, hello guys. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This may or may not be the final episode, I'm not sure yet. Depends how long I feel like dragging this out. I'm not sure yet. But, I'm hoping it'll be fun. So, let me get comfortable first. There we go, yeah, should be good. Okay. We'll continue. We're on part 4 of the trial, which, for all I know, could be the ending. I don't know, we'll have to see. Oh yeah, this douchebag was gonna do another, he was gonna do another cross-examination. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. Yep, so we're picking off where we left off. The moment of the shooting. All these ruffians were jostling the broker. I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windybank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused, in a black coat, shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. Oh, I saw the blood spatter all over the wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. By the way, in a few days, my community guideline strike is gonna run out, which means I could finally upload all this. I'm gonna have so many videos to upload, it's crazy. I'm gonna have like 20 videos. So, if there ends up being like 4 or 5 videos a day, you guys will know why.
Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, on the oath to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger.
Well, he's got his fancy cane still.
Order, order, order.
It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. Let me put my keyboard over here, just in case. You never know. You never know if you're gonna need it. See, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now, as an act of self-preservation. And it's playing McGilded's theme again, I suppose.
Truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details.
Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood.
You say the blood spattered over the accused's coat? Are you sure on that point?
Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time.
Really?
But can we prove that the coat was covered in Mr. Mason's blood?
If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here.
Yeah, where'd the coat go? We still need that.
Such an investigation's entirely possible, my lord.
What?
Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's the true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry.
There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound.
Ideas are no use to us here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand.
Well, at least you're onto something, Iris.
In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used, with your lordship's permission.
Is it regent? Reagent? Regent? I don't know how you say that word. I guess we can always look it up.
We can shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes.
You know, that's one thing I really like about this game, is because, like, this game makes you prove shit, like, without all the modern crap that all the normal, like, Ace Attorney games have. It's like, in modern Ace Attorney, you could just be like, oh, but his blood was on the murder weapon or something, or it's like, oh, his fingerprints were here, so that's how we know he did it. And, like, you know, then it's, like, so easy. It's like, oh, yeah, we just find fingerprints, and then voila, it's easy. But in this game, it's like, no, we don't have that technology yet. Yeah, so, well, I guess it's not technology, it's science. You know, we don't have that shit yet, really, so we kind of have to prove it the old-fashioned way. It's really cool. I can't think of any other games that do that. I like it when games, like, strip away some mechanics sometimes to make you think differently. I can't think of very many games that do that, though.
This doesn't look good right now.
Why not?
Well, we know, don't we? That there's blood all over the front of Guinea's coat. If they test it with their chemicals...
Oh, help, you're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. But didn't we prove that it wasn't anybody related to the incident? Yeah, that's Mason's blood. Exactly. So how are we gonna prove this? My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution.
Overruled. Lord Van Zieks, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be...
Counsel,
Yes, my lord?
your cross-examination.
Of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now. Very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Well, we always have our saves if we fuck it up.
Hold it!
Mr. Windybank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo Nash was scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all my life. Yeah, we're just your regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence. Says the pair who carry a gun. That is true. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. Then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they couldn't handle the situation. But I was wrong, I was wrong. I was trying to be my little brother, but the old geezer chucked me over the blooming counter. I mean, yeah, you're small as fuck, dude. So I put me gun in the old fella, and that soon made him scupper.
The pair of you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you.
Sorry, Gov.
Hold it!
You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was exactly that moment that happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you. So it appeared. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would be still bleeding 2 days later.
Did Mr. Windybank intend to shoot you, do you think?
Well, now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. I mean, yeah, we sure didn't notice you were there, did we? Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home.
When I pulled my gun on him, he tried to shove me out the way.
And then he scampered through that door out back.
At which point, what did you do?
Well, I know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this blanket on me, and it's not fucking working. God. There we go. Jeez. That took a sec. You know, since it's almost Easter time, I reckon I should probably get some of those Easter chocolates again. Even though I know it's gonna be expensive. I pursued the man.
Hold it!
You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this peephole in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the store does a solid job, made out of stout wood. But there's a small opening about the head height that lets you see what's in there from the outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. I feel like we should know more. I feel like we should be using the peephole as evidence more.
And what about you burgling brothers? Do you see what went on through the peephole as well?
Not likely, Gov.
Didn't see enough of this sort, Gov. I thought these two buffoons were even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Windybank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there.
The defendant?
Yes, though neither of them noticed I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed straight at the man.
And then, what did you see next?
I wonder if Nash or Gregson are gonna react to this at all. Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Windybank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. Ah, but no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Windybank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely. A third gun. Seems important to me.
The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, Counsel. Sorry? You must consider the events in order.
Order?
At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then all of a sudden, the broker turned around to run. And it was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back.
A chilling image, I must say.
But that doesn't make any sense, does it? Because why would he wouldn't be facing the way he was if that was the case. If he was trying to, like, leave the storeroom, is I'm assuming what they're saying, that wouldn't add up.
Hold it!
All over her? Yes, the peephole, I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains of it is invisible now, or with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment's solely with the victim's blood. Well, it is solely with blood, that's for sure.
It is not Mr. Windybank's blood, is it?
No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when McGilded stabbed him 2 months ago.
It's so annoying. If only they accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that.
They won't, so unfortunately we can't use it as evidence to support our cause.
bother.
Then she tossed the gun at other people, so I picked it up and made my escape. Oops, I was trying to press that, but okay.
What's your feeling, Runo?
As much as I hate to admit it, I don't see any obvious holes in his testimony at the moment.
You have to find a way to break this man.
And quickly, too, because once they discover the blood on the overcoat Gina was wearing...
It's just strange that he's so sure of himself about seeing the blood spatter all over Guinea's coat. It doesn't strike me as the sort of thing you'd claim if you hadn't genuinely seen it happen.
We know that Gina did shoot Mr. Whitneybanks, so what's going on?
All I know is that it's very unfair. Why should some German scientist's test be acceptable as evidence when mine and Hurley's wasn't? Detectives can use test tubes too.
Never mind that. I have to find a really stark inconsistency in his testimony somewhere. I have to find it before the prosecution discovers the blood stain on Gina's coat. Well, I didn't get the chance to press the sixth statement.
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over.
Over where exactly?
In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then... the girl dropped the gun to the people on the floor on my side of the door.
But why on earth would she do such a thing?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. That's kinda sus.
So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime.
Yes, it was yours truly. Princess Toadstool, Peach. I left the clear up to my lackeys and left. Clear up?
We made a bit of a mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistling Flute here told us to tie up.
He thinks he's a bloomin' mum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bull at a gate, aren't you? What the fuck is happening here?
Excuse me!
Gentlemen. Something wrong, sunshine? That should be my line. You do realize you're just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin.
Blimey, this dude's a bit of an hooligan, ain't he?
What was going on just now?
You saw him, you grabbed the whistle. Why the blazes, he said, didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down to the station?
And why didn't you?
'Cause we didn't know nothing about it. All that blaming people in the door.
Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are you?
Go blimey. See the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this D gives you the willies.
That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone.
No, that wasn't like Gracie at all. He's normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him.
Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris.
Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character.
My lord!
Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the course examination. Explain yourself, officer. I have the results of the test that was ordered earlier, my lord. Ah, the blood. On the accused's overcoat. Thank you, officer. Very well, the course examination's hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel?
No, my lord. Maybe we can find out whose blood it is. Well, there you have it.
The report, please, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Jean Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it appeared that they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound. End of report.
Goodness me.
Do we know whose blood? See? What did I tell you?
Objection!
No. The blood on that coat is not Mr. Windybanks.
What on earth makes you say that, Counsel?
The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Mr. Windybanks, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case.
Objection!
Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nepalese friend?
Sorry? He's gonna make us try to prove it, isn't he?
2 months ago in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for McGilded's innocence? And yet now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country.
But that was...
I'll call about a disgrace. Treachery, that's what it is.
How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help the answer to that problem pop out. It can't be done. But... We used Mr. Scholl's specially...
Mr. Scholl's a detective, not a chemist. Will you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer?
I held a brioche up to starving boy, and he ran away crying.
Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all.
How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth start to finish.
How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was spattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known that is if in fact he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid, and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth.
My lord! Oh, wrong voice.
Been a long battle this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman. As of this moment, sir, Squadron's reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now.
Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Well, this sucks.
Guilty.
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 Alright guys, get ready for a third summation examination.
Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally successful.
I don't believe it. After I've come so far. How is it all unraveling on me so fast? How very distressing. Be held in such low esteem.
Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruto? Officer, you deliver the report now. That'll be all, thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruto. The scientific truth is determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind.
I I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ugh. What the fuck? Mr. Sholmes?
What is the meaning of this?
What the fuck is he doing here?
Order, order, order! What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in hospital.
Oh, I suppose I'll be, had I not set up upon an errand.
What errand?
Hurley, it's really you. You're awake at last.
Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies.
Now, my lord, if you'll humour me.
In what manner, sir?
I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind to spare us the time?
What say you to this, Lord Van Zeeks? This trial has taken many hours of the court's time. Having spent so long already...
Exactly, and since so long a day, we don't want to go and waste any more precious time.
As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense of a few minutes. Very well then, counsel. You have 5 minutes.
Tick, 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 tick. Dude, it's so weird seeing it over here now.
My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival.
Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me, should I pass out? Let's make this discussion as short as possible.
Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is.
Oh, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist in me investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community, an oversight on my part.
Right. Modesty? Surely not.
But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow.
What's that? Lavender Furoshiki wrapping?
A leaving present from Miss Susato.
From Miss Susato? Oh, is she gonna give us another piece of evidence in her final moments?
If possible, matters would be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor.
I don't understand.
Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand. And that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are wont to do, would find yourself in considerable peril.
That's a weird... What's a weird phrase?
At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions.
A leaving present from Susato-san? Whatever could it be? Either way, this is great. What is this?
Oh, it's the machine I made.
Ah. Oh shit. He used it on the door?
What's Stacey up to?
Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant.
What? Did she say something like that? Yeah, she did. We don't know why. No, don't be a failure. Whatever does she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes?
That night when you left Windybanks in pursuit of the thieves. Miss Susanoo made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow.
Not at all cryptic, then. Susanoo-san used his cat flap-o-mat that night? But why? A compact machine for the rapid creation of small flaps and large doors to allow cats to come and go freely. Yeah, you drink that wine.
Alright, I'm fucking done with this wine. Your 5 minutes is over.
We're out of time already?
I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast.
Is it really?
The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruto!
Yes?
The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan?
The rest is now down to me? I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests... a save. Well, what could we do? Time to think. It's no good. I need time to think.
What do you think you're doing, Mr. Naruto?
Sorry?
What of Miss Susanoo's gracious gesture? Would you let this final piece of evidence she let you go to waste?
Final piece of...
This is not a time for inaction. This is a time to hear from a witness.
But it's not possible for me to bring new witnesses to stand at this point.
I don't think that's what Hurley means, Runo. Have you forgotten where we are in the trial?
Aha.
If the defense has nothing more to add, I think we should proceed to the adjudication.
Hold it!
Wait, my lord. The defense requests further cross-examination.
Objection!
The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now.
Objection!
The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of the existing witnesses.
What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper.
Oh yeah! The cross-examination never got finished, did it? Yeah, we didn't finish the cross-examination yet.
So nobody can say anything then. If Bruno asks to resume his cross-examination, Mr. Graydon...
The court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. While I concur the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity to conclude the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present in order of your argument against it.
Oh, we're having one of these, huh? The only time I can really think of that this has existed is in Trials and Tribulations, and maybe Justice for All. A single chance to present evidence?
If following that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You'll not press the witness any further. My lord.
Yes, my lord.
A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruto, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Mr. Sholmes!
I can't take it seriously, though, with this fucking goofy-ass falling animation.
To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fever. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers.
Strike a man when he's down, why don't you?
Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared?
Yes. One statement. One piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down. Or Iris. I won't waste this final chance Sato-san's given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial.
Very well then. Under the terms I've outlined, you may resume the cross-examination.
We even get to see this again. The moment of the shooting again. Oh, holy shit. We get some banger music. Oh man, this is it? Is this like the fucking presto of this game or something? And I can't press him, obviously. Well, most importantly, we should look at we should examine this. Oops, not that. Oh, shit. Ooh, those vicious teeth look like they could rip up through almost anything.
They're good, aren't they? They're made of a special alloy I developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so it can get through any kind of door in no time at all.
And what are the two parts at the top there?
Ah, those are for attaching hinges to the section of a door that gets cut out.
Right, of course.
Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest of doors.
Dude, what if you got scraped by the fucking knives on that thing? Sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it is for, but it feels like the reality of the cat flap mat is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction.
My guy's so adorable. There's something I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons.
Is that the only thing I can examine? I think that is the only thing I can examine here. Unless there's something else that I don't know about. No, I believe that's everything. Okay. His lordship's only gonna allow me to present one piece of evidence here. It's clear what that piece of evidence should be.
How in the world did Susie manage to sneak off with this without me noticing?
And she used it in the pawn...
And she is in the pawnbrokery.
Yes, at least that's what Mr. Sholmes said. I was only gone from the place about 5 minutes when I went after the Skulkin brothers. A possible reason could Sato-san have had to use Iris' contraption in that time. Could it be that's what she... Could it be that what she did with the flat cat flap-o-mat completely changes one of the key premises in this testimony is based on? Let's have a look at it again. I felt a sharp pain in my arm. My idea is maybe the sharp pain in his arm is from the cat flapomat. Is that possible? Let's look at the other statements first. I could only see him through the peephole in the door. Can he also look through... Well, I have two possible statements I could press it on. Okay. I could try statement number 2. That's my idea.
Objection.
The witness's last statement clearly at odds with this piece of evidence. No, that's not it. Oh. Oh wait, I get to present again? What happens if I press? I'm kind of curious.
Hold it.
Mr. Graydon, I take issue with your...
No, my learned friend. I take issue with you.
What? Oops.
His lordship made it very clear that the defense is permitted to present only a single piece of evidence. The prosecution demands stern punishment for any mischief used to make more of this cross-examination.
Indeed, just desserts, counsel. Just desserts.
Oh.
He threw that mischief in your face, Bruno.
He threw those just desserts in my face twice. Alright, I can only present one single piece of evidence. That was funny, though. I'm glad I got to see that. Well, my other idea is this one.
Objection.
Yeah, okay.
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, counsel?
Oh, it's my cat flapomat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. You can cut through any door you can think of, and make a new little door in the middle of it.
That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. It's such a silly name, too. Small doors for cats to come and go out of as they please.
I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves.
Uh,
That cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to the case.
Oh, really?
Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in that pawnbroker's door. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand.
Perhaps it would help if I described its function in another way, then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all.
I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say?
2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windybank took place.
That's right. According to the people who look at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and chums.
Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time.
Your assistant did what?
There was a peephole in the storeroom door, I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom.
This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime for pity's sake?
Yes. How could you?
What? Counsel, kindly say what you mean.
Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through.
What? No!
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was...
Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device.
Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully unaware of the gravity of our actions? This is the most serious act of vandalism.
For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Quite literally, too.
Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel.
The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door.
Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back.
However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claimed to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Everybody's clenching their arms now.
Order! 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 Is there any credence in this revelation?
Objection! None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize.
Exactly! This chum's some cheap trick designed to discredit me!
I'm afraid not, sir.
Of course it is! Do you seriously expect people to believe that that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door?
Oh yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors.
That's absurd! I don't believe it for a second!
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What?
Waggy, cooey, time for dinner. Well?
Oh! Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey. I'm not done yet, don't worry. This doesn't mean the peephole in the storeroom door at Windybanks was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was.
No, but it's easy.
What?
The cat flaps my cat flap creates are all the fixed size. And the dimensions of the peephole at Windybanks are an exact match. Oh, Silky's lost for words.
Excellent work, Iris. Thank you.
And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home.
Well, yes, that's true.
Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the peephole has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Hang on. Oh my god. Dude, look at the frickin'... Look at the pictures. You see that shit right there? Right there?
What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks?
It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to that fact. There's no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation.
What?
Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel?
Don't give up now, Runo. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through.
I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Suzada-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world.
Very well. The Council of Defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the peepholes in the door of Windy Bank storm was created after the event and not before.
Take that!
What are you? A print from the detective's infernal cameras again?
My judicial assistant, Miss Suzato Mikitoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had necessary proof.
And the necessary proof is this photographic print, Counsel?
This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises.
Agreed. And also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker.
But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background.
Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. That really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description.
Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claimed to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies.
Order! 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 I'm satisfied the defense has substantiated its claim beyond reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony is entirely fallacious. That's not the only thing we know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with a crime scene.
Uh-oh.
But more importantly... Good lord, there's more Lord Van Zeeks? The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that's no proof that this man is the victim's killer.
Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene, it's true. And I was shot in the arm, it's true, but that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here.
Oh, please. No! I don't believe this. But they're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he's the culprit.
Still, he can't worm his way out of it now.
Chris?
You know what they say? All toasters toast toast. There's no point in locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Reno? As Hurley always says. One lie begets another. No, wait. That might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories.
Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. It was Han who shot first. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense.
Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark?
What you say in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements.
What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, Counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency.
Iris is right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in this witness's statements. They show that Mr. Grant had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known about. Namely, it's either the third gun Oh yeah, the third gun, because the third gun was on the other side of the door, right? Well, no. The peephole. Well, think about it, right? Because he said that the gun got tossed out of the peephole, right? We could try each of these, because these all seem legitimate. I don't know about the blood stains on the coat. Well, maybe it's the one I don't think about. Because think about it, if he left the scene of the crime, he wouldn't have known about the peephole unless he came back to the scene of the crime, right? I'm gonna go with my gut instinct. The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing.
You're not making any sense.
Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door?
What? Well, obviously, I... Ugh! Ugh!
Has the cat got your tongue, witness?
The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police had been at Windybanks constantly carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Well, yes, of course. The place is checked full of bond articles, and my lads had to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to the other officers working around the clocks and shifts so we get through it all.
And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the peephole in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door. How on earth is that possible?
Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks?
Speak, Inspector.
It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so it's all the same to you.
Permission denied.
Oh.
It's not at all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You'll remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes.
Of course, sir.
Mr. Graydon, you shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else. Oh, that is also possible.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize I trust that the words you just uttered have serious, extremely serious implications.
Yes. But the defense believes the details of the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be.
Who is the person in question, counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate the false testimony?
Well, who could it have been? Was it Van Zeeks? The only two people that it could have been is Gregson or Zeeks. Couldn't have been the brothers, because they left really soon. I doubt it would be... No, it couldn't have been Sholmes, because he was in the hospital. Couldn't have been Gina, because she was at the prison, so... It's either Gregson or Van Zeeks. And I'm more leaning towards Van Zeeks. But then again, Gregson was acting kind of sus. So, it could also be him. But why would Gregson tell... Why would he tell him, though? Can I look through the history again? I don't know. I'm not too sure which one it is. What if it was Gregson though? Cause like, think about it, right? Gregson and Graydon were having that fucking like secret talk, remember? We still don't know what that was about. And Gregson's been like shut up the entire time because he says like Strongheart can't tell him what to say. I don't know, I'm gonna try it.
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Eh?
Objection!
Me?
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend.
Consider the fact that we've only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed. Preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our 1 hour-long recess, while the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communications station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position. That he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder.
You're suggesting in the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information? So that he can commit perjury in order to save his skin?
Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of the investigation of this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view of the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred.
Oh, I just remember something, Bruno.
What is it, Iris?
There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Guinea was testifying.
Oh yes, now you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGilda's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it! It was during that testimony. Exactly! I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then.
You little dough rag, you're making all this up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke?
Admittedly, you wouldn't have any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense.
What deal, counsel?
I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the peephole at this crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give certain something to the inspector. Whoa, like blackmail or something?
I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance.
Well,
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty.
I don't do that.
But with stakes so high, the prosecution's not prepared to list the baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim.
Evidence?
Just what are you proposing? The inspector demanded of the witness in return.
The disc, maybe.
The court must see proof of this alleged deal.
Was it the disc? Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon. And logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it.
Bruno, do you think it could be?
Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle.
I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of this alleged deal?
Is it the fucking disc? Is it the disc? We'll try. It's not the disc, is it? What else could it be? Maybe it's the... Well, it wouldn't be the guns, I doubt. I'm gonna go with the disc.
Take that!
Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case?
What? What are you getting at now, Sunshine?
Is it possible that this other top-secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice?
How the bleeding nonna could you?
We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited at Windybanks by Magnus McGilded. A special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It seemed very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. Oh, so he wanted the disc back because he didn't want the secrets getting leaked. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case.
You little... Oh!
Order! Order! Order!
On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windybanks, you said this.
How many think I got one of these? Mr. Gideon is down in the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
Yeah, we know about this. Good pursuit music. Scotland Yard already knew at the time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGilded was involved in the stealing of government secrets.
My orders were, recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush.
And that explains why, when I present this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information.
Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness? To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony?
There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the peephole. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these 2 men.
No!
Objection!
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc, as we speak, and here in the very courtroom.
Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that?
Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective.
What?
What's that supposed to mean, eh?
As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly, he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this manner. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand.
Good gracious. Then you mean to say...
Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person?
Yes!
Yes! The defense demands the inspector is searched at once.
Definitely. They could have only struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before. And Gregsy hasn't moved from the witness stand since.
My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately.
Well, Inspector...
This young guy wants to tone down his imagination. He'd insulted me in my profession quite enough. However, if it'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search. What? He's going to agree to it?
I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. You've made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end. And my country's government will formally demand of yours that you're severely reprimanded.
That sounds serious.
Indeed, to have a visiting student make such a defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
You're just threatening Runa because you're scared.
The accusation's beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences.
Oh no, he's not gonna have the disc now, is he? It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. The disc must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Very well, Counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time.
Yes, my lord.
Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects?
We could search someone else. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, the defense formally demands the search be conducted.
Well, don't say you weren't warned, but your typical nippy-knee stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good.
Fair enough. I've got nothing to hide.
Very well, then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's person.
The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson.
What?
Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. No, Inspector. Not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, Sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You've been completely irrational. I can't even talk today, Jesus.
Be quiet, all of you.
Oh, it's Iris. Runa's doing what y'all told him to do, and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way.
Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense's counsel's convictions, and eagerly awaits his next words.
Who the fuck do I search, though? You what? No, don't be hasty, my lord. If I'm not mistaken of the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has the disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be.
Counsel, of whom do you request a search now?
Ashley Graydon? Wait a minute. Does he not have the other disc? I don't know. Well, it can only be a few people, right? What? Wait, did Mr. Sholmes have it? Didn't, like, I know, like, that caramel thing. Didn't he, like, press the disc in the caramel or something? That would actually be insane if that comes back. Hmm. Can I try this? Can I try Herlock Sholmes? Okay, I can't even look at my, I can't even look at my court record either. Well, let me save again. Yeah, when is that thing gonna come back? Didn't Sholmes have it at one point? I could try it.
Take that!
My lord, the defense demands this person be searched at once.
Good grief. What possible relation exists between that person and the case, counsel?
Objection!
I think I did that wrong. Is the caramel thing not gonna come back at any point? Like, that seems so, like, stupid.
You see, my Nipponese friend does not understand the gravity of requesting such a search. If the defense counsel aim is humiliation, perhaps this will give him a taste of his own medicine.
Okay, that was good.
If Gracie doesn't have the disc at the moment, the question is, where could he have hidden it?
The trouble is, he's been in the witness stand the entire time in full view of every— Oh. So, Gregson hid it somewhere. Not an easy situation in which to go about hiding anything, really. There's only one place he could have possibly hidden it, then. Oh. So, it's either Ashley Graydon or one of the brothers. Well, I get this. Let me try Graydon.
Take that!
Okay. I guess my hunch was correct from the beginning. I don't know why, I just wanted to see what would happen if I presented Sholmes, because the fucking caramel. Mr. Ashley Graydon, my lord. Defense demands that he be searched at once. Yeah, didn't he, like, say, like, no, I don't want to be searched?
Very well. I presume you'll not protest, Mr. Graydon?
Au contraire.
And so a brief body search was carried out by the court bailiff. A few short minutes later, it was revealed that Mr. Graydon had nothing unusual in his person at all. Wait, what?
Well, counsel?
If I'm not mistaken on the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has the disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Wait a minute. Wait, really? That was... I like how we got a unique cutscene for that, though. Could it have been one of the brothers, then?
Take that!
Oh, it was the brother. Of my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin.
Well, I never.
Eh? Me? Him?
Very well, then. Bailiff, restrain the witnesses and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Hold it!
Please, my lord.
Inspector?
Scotland Yard, has to object to this search.
Objection!
Oh shit, he's objecting.
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here.
Eh?
In this courtroom, only the prosecution and defense have the authority to object.
But Lord Van Zeeks.
I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial.
Ugh.
Bailiff, carry out that search.
Now hold on a mo. I know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Ah!
Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket. I found this.
Holy shit.
Good lord, that's another music box disc.
I don't know nothing about it, nothing.
Holy shit. That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson?
Oh! Oh!
Holy shit, I didn't expect Gregson to be sus.
Order! 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 Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself?
Gordon Bennett. I mean, just Gordon Flamin' Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God.
Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck between this witness and this detective, no?
Without question, my lord.
Then for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information?
Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment.
I don't recall. What unusual behavior?
It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket?
I admit to nothing of the sort.
While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. That is true.
Yeah, he did it all. Thought me an organ was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as me brother, I was.
And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that?
I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly turned and grabbed me, whistled like that, and started shaking me.
Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun we got down at the station? That's what he said.
Yeah, right down me ear, all he did. Me head's still throbbing now.
The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc.
Well, bless my wig, he hit it.
You!
But I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. If the inspector had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket?
There's a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence.
It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. Hush hush. A top secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if the information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector?
I'm operating under direct orders from Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question.
So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took the steps to hide the disc you'd acquired from the witness. Oh, does this mean?
He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket.
So it's all a pretense? Well now, Inspector Grayson, and you, Mr. Graydon, are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal?
Admit to it? Yours truly? Please.
Mr. Graydon.
Clearly our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole?
I'm under no obligation to explain.
What?
Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with a detective. All of this is young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of this is about.
You... what? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc?
Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice.
Oh, we're going this route now, are we?
So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions.
This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented,
I'm gonna look up what that word is. Tumultuousness? That's a weird one. Let me see. Tumultuous. Making a loud, confused noise. Okay. Oh, Coffee responded to me. Let me just talk to her real quick. I should do that more often. I should tell her that I'm playing a game.
I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leadings. Well, now, as a fellow servant of the Queen and country, I must say I sympathise with the inspector.
Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good justice, one becomes a good judge of character.
Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me.
Well, as a fellow professional, I like to put my faith in detectivity.
Graydon's highly skilled operator stop. Currently impressive, I'll stop.
Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this I cannot say.
Believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're gonna believe Gregson? If they declare their decision now...
Is Gainey gonna be found guilty?
If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then... we're gonna lose. Either some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windybank, or stole those government secrets, or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. What could I even present?
Well then, counsel, I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court.
If I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Gino will be found guilty.
So there's no choice then, Bruno. You have to throw some more evidence at them.
This is it now. It all comes down to this. It's come to this. We'll save. What happens if we leave it to the jury anyway? I can't possibly decide this. I think all I can do is leave it in the jury's case.
No, Bruno. Look how far we've come. This is the final stretch. You need to pick up the most explosive piece of evidence and throw it at the weakest witness. Hard.
Just before you do, you deserve an explosive punishment for that weakest of decisions.
This will be the final blow. I need to decide where to place it for myself. Okay. So it's one of these two, and it's one of these pieces of evidence. And what evidence do I have? Today's papers. Yeah, we do have the papers. Notice that says justice right there. I guess we could try Graydon first. Mr. Graydon, there's one final piece of evidence I would like you to see.
You misguided fool. Whatever you intend to show me now, you'll be wasting your time. I have nothing left to lose. I assure you, I'll admit to nothing.
This is my last chance. Looks like I'm going to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get him to admit to the deal he clearly struck on the stand. The papers? It could also be the music box. Let me try the papers.
Take that!
What on earth is this, Counsel?
Irrefutable proof, my lord, of the corrupt dealings that went on between these two men. Did I actually get it? Holy shit.
Or perhaps, irrefutable proof of the corrupt workings of my learned friend's mind.
Ugh. Oh, never mind.
Really, Counsel, at this stage of the proceedings, I would expect a more considered argument. Defense will duly penalized.
Fuck. Oh man, I thought it was something, I was on to something with that paper. Damn it. I mean, for all we know, it might not even be... It might not even be, Graydon. Inspector Gregson, there's one final piece of evidence I'd like you to see.
Eh? What's that then?
If you refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today, then you'll leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly.
Well, go on.
This is my last chance. One final piece of evidence to get this detective to admit to the deal he clearly struck with Graydon. So it's not the paper, is it? Or is it? Let's try some other things. Or maybe it is the paper. Let me try again.
Take that!
I don't think it. Yeah. No, that doesn't work, obviously. Does it really matter who you pick, then? I don't know. But we'll try out a few things. Is it the music box? Maybe.
Take that!
It's the music box. That was my second guess.
Is that Mr. McGilda's peculiar music box, Counsel?
Yes, with a disc already in place ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time... with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well.
Goodness, this disc, Counsel.
No, wait. I can't let you do that.
Why not?
Because it's got nothing to do with this case, that's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector.
Eh?
The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprised of two distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory.
For crying out loud, Sunshine. We're talking about state secrets here. If you go letting that whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason.
Then do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness?
You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot.
Objection!
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, and all because by fair means or foul you're determined to your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine.
Don't you dare.
I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box.
Come on, Van Zees. For Pete's sake, stop him.
Objection!
Leg. Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul.
No!
Very well, the defense's stance here, and that of the prosecution was made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time with the second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously.
Oh shit. I don't know Morse code, but this is gonna be interesting.
Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code.
Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want. But for the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up.
Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you or did you not strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon?
Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of this peephole in the pawnbroker storeroom door, Inspector?
I did. Stop! What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, and we stood here at the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. Or information that may certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details of the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom door and the bloodstains on the overcoat.
So wait, you're telling me Graydon blackmailed Gregson? By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that, yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury.
I did. But then it turned out the peephole had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape the conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder. Yeah, you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windybank.
You. Traitor!
Holy shit. Oh shit.
Bailiff, restrain this man. At once.
That's it then. It's all over.
Is it? I despise my... Wait. I think that's Gina talking. Oh, I despise my life growing up. Wait, no, that's him talking. No, that's Grayson. Grayson. Why would Gina be talking?
I despise my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole.
And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination.
But then you decided to try to sell government secrets? Why?
Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out, with more money than anyone who lived in the squalor could ever imagine. Then one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded.
You're a fiend with a cortana, you are. I've money to throw away if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with my little plan now.
I was to steal the Ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded to buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the Ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task.
The lure of the devil's offerings. How easy it is to succumb. Well, you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you're committing.
And for that reason, I took great lengths to assure that my actions were untraceable.
By using the music box.
My father was a brickmaker, although my mother divorced him when I was still a child.
Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton.
That's right, he was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined the skills would be sufficient to create a machine that would generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again, to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier.
Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you become, eh?
He was a different man to the one in my memory. Thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made.
Music box disc, eh?
A musician friend of mine had written some music he wants to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There too, actually.
I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft.
That's how I had to make the 2 discs.
Thereby splitting the information in 2. You were taking considerable precautions indeed.
I was told to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of 2 discs, and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then on receipt of the second disc, he'd pay 1,000 guineas.
So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of a deal? The exchange of the second disc?
Yes, I sold the man information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money.
That doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why was it on that omnibus 2 months ago? Your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded, not yourself.
When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. My father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that it must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me,
Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore.
that was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded, that's it. He had no idea what was actually on the discs I asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name. To exact revenge. Revenge?
As anyone with even the remotest of knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. The trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish.
My feet had barely touched British soil back then, and I walked into the hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I've made plenty of money out of my dealings with the Gilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that... I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in this courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. He committed the arson? That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGilded's death that day was caused by this man? Everything's ready, sir, if you'd like to follow me in that courtroom.
What's this, officer? Soon all I was led to believe.
Oh, it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule.
Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
So that policeman who came to tell Mr. McGilded he could examine the omnibus again. That's right, an imposter, hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He said he paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened the witnesses to lie on their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death.
Oh, damn. A spine-chilling account indeed.
But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see.
A loose end?
Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded.
Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime.
When I realized he was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I've dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs in the music box. You need to play them.
Well, look at that now. What an ingenious invention. So there's promised 10 guineas for you, young man.
What's this? Windybank's pawnbrokery?
Aye, there's a pawnbroker stick it is, so it is. You can use it to remain the article or deposit there for you. There's no need to give you a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. I put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll take a 10 good guineas if you sell it, so it will.
I've never heard of a pawnbroker being used in quite that way before.
Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokers are very useful places, you know. Each one's like an extremely secure vault.
Damn, I never imagined McGilded was so fucking sinister.
So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And on that night, he killed my father. He must have entrusted the ticket to someone.
Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Windybanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for?
From the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could have seen that. I realized immediately that she was another of Mr. Gilded's pawns, that he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some enquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline.
And he was absolutely right.
And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was to wait until the girl went to Windybanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was placed in it that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing.
Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier.
But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets is progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved.
Inspector, you've recovered fast.
My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellow's possessions, examining whether we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation of what going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc was still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did.
So that's what prompted you to break into the place that night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers.
What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the music box I'd sold to McGilded on the shelves of the forfeited articles.
And the second disc was inside?
Yes, I slipped into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? A gunshot rang on the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm.
The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb.
Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I had intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled to the storeroom door for refuge.
A sorry, sorry tale.
It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windy Banks on that wretched night.
Damn, what an ending. So he shot Windy Bank. Windy Bank shot him. And then... Wait a minute. But then what about the Skulkin brothers' gun? What did they shoot at?
Earlier you called McGilden a monster. A man who uses wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of a murder. What tragic irony. For what you've done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw. You become the very thing you swore to destroy. And despise so deeply in McGilded.
Yes, I think I have.
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we've arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windybank, and the stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably, you'll have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course.
It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. The fact remains whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Yeah?
It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Got up school chain standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. The men are ready to deliver the verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You'll now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
We finally have it, guys. A not guilty verdict. Yay!
That's the stuff. I'm off hook. Finally, Reno. You finally managed to do it.
Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there.
Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world.
Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet.
Huh? What are you looking at me like that for?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider,
Huh?
2 months ago in my courtroom, no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Mr. Winniback's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGillis' property, it seems.
Huh? I never done nothing of the sort.
Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilda's coat in your cell yesterday or anything.
Aw, I just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Guinea this evening.
And turning our attention to the fence, determining that when played together, the music box disc contained a message in Morse code was... Well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, Counsel. Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. to demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom.
Oh, very sorry about that. It was the only way I could get the Inspector Gregson to admit what he'd done, so... If I may something... Wait, who's talking here? Isn't that...
It's, about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that really was Morse code at all.
What? What are you saying, madam?
Oh, well. It's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact.
Goodness, madam. An unhealthy level of obsession, one feels.
But I must say that, in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones.
What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? My lord, defense would like to listen to the music box again. Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain ministerial secrets, sunshine.
This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government communications. We know McGilda conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies, secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further.
But it's really going to bother me.
Miss Lestrade,
Yeah, me lord?
that which you've seen today here in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalogue of depravity. An appalling experience to befall any child.
Come on, it ain't nothing I haven't seen in this days back in the slums.
I beg your pardon?
If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes.
Gina.
But look, I reckon I've worked something up today. The world ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you gotta start at one. You gotta start at home. You gotta change how you are yourself.
Well, that's a very laudable lesson, I'd say. I look forward to the born-again Mr. Strayed never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty.
Woo! Confetti! Confetti everywhere! And fireworks, too! Beautiful, beautiful. Woo! Fireworks! Yay!
That is all. Court is adjourned.
Oh my god, we did it, guys! We figured out the case. Are you going to respect me now, Zeeks?
On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my Far Eastern friend.
Oh!
Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman. And at the same time, saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially for considering our very different cultures.
I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside.
You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom.
I was right about that. You did?
When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand.
You mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly?
Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you'll learn the answer, whether you like it or not.
Well, I guess we'll have to figure that out in Grace Attorney 2, huh? Did I say Grace Attorney? That is a good way to shorten the name, ain't it? Alright then, I'll wait for that day if I must.
Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again.
So we're friends now, aren't we, Zanziques? That's great. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? She probably went to see Hurley. Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, he did what he said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me, right on to the end. He is all as in name. What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. That's awful. I figured out something today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. That's just cause I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it is when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently, too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has become a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks.
This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith is in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself.
After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption.
What the deuce does a man have to be nice around here, my dear fellow?
That voice.
It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruto. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity.
Ah, yes, it was me all along.
I would have said when you finally noticed me.
But you people with your
Incessant babbling.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, yes, it was me all along, you see?
Put your damn clothes back on, man. I assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest.
Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again.
Oh. Mr. Scholes, why did they mirror you horizontally?
I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence.
How very above board.
But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you.
Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Good at being cold as ice, maybe.
Have I egged you in some way, Mr. Strayed?
While you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives.
Oh well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I've indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, how I feel.
Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes?
And, in some way, I suppose, congratulations on all for you too, Mr. Strayed.
What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted?
Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in the trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious.
Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who found not guilty in a trial he was working with ends up dead anyways, aren't it?
The point I was trying to make. And exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGill, in fact. Oh, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself.
Yeah, well, it don't bother me.
Oh, really?
Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like him upstairs.
Him upstairs? You mean, like God?
Yeah, him upstairs knows what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He ought to have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some codes like that bog trotter what'll rot into the core. At the end of the day, him upstairs makes sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
Define justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters in his own hands and claiming lives is another.
Well, I ain't like McGillis of this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see?
A trait in which is used to be the mind, Mr. Strayed.
Oi, just give me a rest, alright?
As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina.
Well, there you are, Hurley. How long you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there.
Oh, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves.
What happened?
As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room just as a bailiff. Well, these dolls didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it?
I'm not sure, really.
I beg your pardon.
I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the witty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's gonna land you in trouble one day.
Oh, be careful.
Ouch. Is that the first time he's done that animation?
Anyways, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Guinea tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you?
Don't look like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. You the judge's patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking the bog trotter stuff, what was in the log, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But diving ain't an offense, it's a job, isn't it? I don't think so. Still, it's got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something all like that lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for him.
That's a wonderful idea, Guinea, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it?
Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade! The prison courage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes. Goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Odo? Yes? Ugh! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Oh, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Strayed. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you.
Oh. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Guinea.
Right, I see. Well... thanks, Odo. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Look at her. Thank you for everything what you done, for believing in me. Bless her. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. I just wanted to see her smile, that's all. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well, quite the inaudible pig purse.
Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial's all over the front page. Pickpockets innocent proven. Isn't it wonderful?
You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled.
Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news?
Not again.
Well, what do you say, Reno, Hurley?
As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news.
And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it?
Let's not go there.
Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently.
Oh, let me guess, the bad news is that it's gonna rain later, isn't it? Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news?
The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more.
Wait, Dover?
That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still be able to make it time to wave Susie off.
Oh yeah! But... there won't be a train, surely? We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruto? What are we gonna call the fucking cab? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we should be out there in no time for dinner. And I know of a foreign restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't... The Grey's detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport director forables. What?
I merely made my knowledge of them known to man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary.
Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way.
What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria!
Guys, would you believe I've never had a drink of juice this entire stream? Ooh, what a really pretty background. I think it's time that I had a drink. Especially after that case, that trial. Good lord. What time are we at anyway? 2 hours and 20. Ooh, this is gonna be a long finale, but that's okay. Port of Dover, Quayside.
It took somewhat longer than I anticipated.
Susie's butt must be about to leave now.
Mrs. Otto, where are you? There she is. Over there, look. Looks like she's reading something.
Hold it!
Mrs. Otto, wait! What are you doing? Mr. Naruhodo? What are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see? Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. Aw, bless Suzato too. That book you're about to throw into the sea. It was your encyclopedia of British law, wasn't it? Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell. You're saying goodbye to law? You, Suzato-san?
Would I be correct in assuming? It's because of the people, Miss Susato.
I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did he even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun! I stole Runo's armband!
Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me.
Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice it for ages.
On a whim, I thought it'd be fun to see if I could take the cat flapomat, so I put it up my sleeve.
Really?
And then I rather forgot about it, until I found myself in Mr. Windybank's shop with it later that night. Well, she does got some big sleeves, though. I see. And then...
Bang.
After Mr. Naruhodo left the shop, I started to think... That door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So you used the cat flapomat to make the peephole in the door.
As captured in a photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
Indeed, it was one of the first important at that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing.
But when I looked through the hole in the door...
The sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remember that trial 2 months earlier.
The trial of Magnus McGilded.
I thought about how he'd manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windybank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing.
You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime?
That's right. But then I realized it'd be very different for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have had to be a way to see beyond the door.
Ah. For which, a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the peephole I'd made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it?
So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made a peephole to no one, not even the police. I know. I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner, with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the peephole could save him. That was my plan.
She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she'd done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disbarred if you'd been seen to have knowingly tampered with the crime scene. So Mrs. Otto decided to shudder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, and Miss Lestrade's. Mrs. Otto.
The truth is, when it happened, I did it 'cause I'd lost a little of my faith in the law.
Oh.
I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon's the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not all sure she would have been acquitted in the end. Mrs. Otto, what you did saved Gina's life.
Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you saved me too from my regrets.
Well, we must be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure.
But the revelation that the music box disc contained secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration.
Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was.
Oh, it wasn't?
There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see. A telegraph operator. And she said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about the secret government communications. No doubt they are written in cipher to avoid being readily understood, should they have been intercepted. What if you gotta, like, play in reverse or something? Also, by the way, it's getting really cold in my room, so I'm gonna close my window. Give me, like, a second. In cipher? I see. So then, we could have never hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zeolite problem, I assure you. A. So. Gi. What?
Wow, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny.
Wait, Iris, what did you just say?
Oh, I just said asogi. Does that word mean something to you?
Mean something? Sogi was the name of my best friend.
What?
But how? How do you know that name, Iris?
I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box.
She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius.
I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in the plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whatever I tried, the words just didn't make any sense. That is, in English at least.
Oh.
It suddenly occurred to me, you see, there's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages.
I don't believe it. Are you saying the Morse code is in Japanese?
That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pentagram, isn't it?
You mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says asogi?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code.
Iris, would you let me see that? Mrs. Otto, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Well, that's awfully convenient. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version? Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please.
Of course.
But what can this possibly mean? Whatever's in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. I didn't even know there was Japanese Morse code. Jeez. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first is Kei Asogi. Kazuma Asogi. Why was his name on that disc? The second is A Shin. Asian? Oh, that's the stupidest fucking name ever. I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gurrigason. Gregson? Oh, I was seeing Tobias Gregson's the third man on the list. What's his name doing in a secret government communication as well? And the last name? What's the matter, Mrs. Otto? It's just so strange. So unexpected.
Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense.
Is it Wilson? The last name is J. Wilson.
What?
Wilson?
John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy?
It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then after the 4 names it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message. Rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names.
It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan.
So, Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Reno come from.
Oh, well...
No. It's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there's lots of J's among them.
Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. We can't tell Iris about this now. We just can't. This is so strange. Somehow in solving the case of Mr. Windybank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Honk. Oh dear, the ship's going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamship first. Oh fuck, I can't read. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie?
We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato.
Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best.
Mrs. Otto, I had hoped you'd always at my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it.
Really, Susie?
Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill.
A promise?
About your manuscript.
Ah.
Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise.
Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Buria when I was dragged out from that wardrobe still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown. You know very well that I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Cosmo-san's great legacy. Miss Susato. And my instincts are right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that... I'll be back soon. Farewell until then. Bless her.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least.
Bye.
Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey.
Aw, how lovely.
Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around. After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Truly beautiful.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, Mr. Sholmes?
I have some rather awkward news.
You're really gonna interrupt that touching moment, Mr. Sholmes?
The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently.
Huh?
It caused such commotion on the line. All the other trains had to wait at stations.
But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything, and how it was all your fault.
Huh? What?
I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow, according to Mrs. Otto.
You love defending yourself in court.
Huh? Huh?
It's alright. I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See?
Mr. Sholmes,
Yes?
a word if you don't mind?
Why, certainly, any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow.
Oh yes, I love Bruno's words. I know just the one he'll use here.
Is it time? Then I really must say...
Objection!
Yeah! Oh, they always end the game that way. I love it. Oh my god. Damn, dude. I did not think I would love this game as much as I did. Like, I've always, like, kind of ignored the Great Ace Attorney series. Because I always thought, like, it doesn't have Phoenix Wright in it.
In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot, though it transpired I'd ordered them all myself. So I advertised them for sale with used by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case, and the money I've earned, consulting detective work pays a pittance by comparison.
Yeah, like, oh my god. I kept ignoring this game, because it's like, it doesn't have Phoenix Wright in it, so ooh, it's not going to be as good, but god damn.
Yeah, I haven't slept a wink. This manuscript's due tomorrow now. I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement. For some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfasts.
Oh, yeah. Like, I enjoyed the story so damn much. It was so good. Oh, this guy.
Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions.
Exactly. Really do Cora Koba and Coins hide on the rare stake themselves?
Well, I don't know, son knows his father's an innocent man, or you call my son a liar.
Witnesses, my courtroom is no place for petty arguments.
There was pretty much no character I disliked in this game. I liked every character. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low on the steamship for a while. But last night, I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. I have done nothing wrong! All I did was give Wagahai's offspring refuge in my pocket! A man brings some kids on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal! It's not fair! Yeah, every character was great. Every case was great. I was hooked, man. I couldn't stop playing this game.
Scientific investigation will be the gold standard for policing in a new age. I dream of a new world governed by the tenets of order and of discipline. Like a great clock, in fact whose hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect mission. I think he said unison. Now if you excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds to my next appointment.
Yeah, I think I might have enjoyed this even more than all the other Ace Attorney games. Although then again, I haven't played the other Ace Attorney games, and I probably won't. I have no reason to, because I've seen them already.
The latest Ron's magazine's out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a standing ovation. Wanna hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur.
He got his funny tea. Her ladyship puts me to shame. Yeah, like, obviously I'm never gonna play most of the Ace Attorney games on the channel, because I've seen them all countless times. And it wouldn't be a surprise to me going into them.
Been visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Joni, my old jelly bird. Must say, battling with those bally stairs every day is doing wonders for the dirty peg. Managing rather well with the housework, too. Hope this maid business taped up, may I say. Hope the gossiping neighbours don't realise the man of the house is his own maid.
It was also really fun voicing everybody. That's one of the pleasures I take in these visual novel games, is just voicing everybody. I got to practice a bunch of new accents.
My Reddy's back on the beat again, all thanks to the Reaper.
There's nothing I enjoy more than these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners. They dropped happenings and my lovely wife. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
There is one Ace Attorney game I've never played, actually, which is, Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton.
Looks like I'm going to be doing Tom for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for a natter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about all them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kinda interesting when you get into them.
Oh, I love Gina, she was great. Definitely one of my favorites from this game. I heard she's in the second game too, so that'll be fun to see what she's up to. Oh, you.
Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets? Please.
Give over here, Blav. That ain't the Nash we used to know.
We got that data part of the comeback of Littleton so called his milk run, right? Ray Muscovort sits. Milk the neighborhood for all it's worth.
These guys were silly. But also great. Whatever happened to all the guys on the cruise ship?
This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life's all about. Naruhodo-san, I promise, your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories, and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well.
Susato-san was lovely too. She really is the best judicial assistant. Yeah, I got to make a bunch of British jokes and learn a bunch of. Oh, what a great picture! Look at that! Oh, that's amazing. This is the best family I've ever met. But yeah, I don't even have. I'm out of words to describe how much I love this game. These two going for a walk, huh? Ooh. That's a great ending. Look at that. Hey, we're going for a nice walk down memory lane. Yay. Yeah, case 1 was, like, case 1 was great. It's like a starting point, but like once we got to like case like 3 and onward, that's when it really started to get good, because then we're in London and everything. And like, I liked case 2 for like changing up the formula so much. Because case 2, like, it was pure investigation, which is something that hasn't been done since the Edgeworth investigation games, which is kind of cool. And I really like that. So that's another reason I like this game, is it broke tradition of, like, most of the Ace Attorney games. Like, it's kind of somewhere in the middle of, like, normal Ace Attorney and also investigations. So it's, like, its own thing, which is great. But even if it is a spin-off game, whether or not it's a spin-off or a mainline game, it's up to everybody else to decide, I guess. I love that it did its own thing. And it has a great cast of characters that everybody should enjoy. Because I loved all the characters. Every single one of them. They were all great. They're all fun to voice. And, you know, I'm excited to do Ace Attorney Great Ace Attorney 2 at some point. Obviously I'm gonna take a break, though, since I did beat this game. Like, I don't know, maybe give it, like... I honestly don't know. Give it maybe a few months, half a year. I say give it a year at most, and that's when I'd play Great Ace Attorney 2. Oh yeah, and I do have something I want to discuss. So, also I love that Susato and Ryunosuke are traveling together now. That's great. So, I always thought to myself, like, the Ace Attorney series is dead, right? But I'd say no, it isn't, because, sure, the last mainline Phoenix Wright game was 7 years ago. But we only just got this game on all modern consoles. We got them all, this game released, I believe, in 2021, right? Yeah, 2021. So it's only actually been 2 years since the last Ace Attorney game, technically, because this game never released in the West. And plus we got 2 games in 1. We got Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2. Well, I guess you could say Great Ace Attorney Volume 1 and Volume 2. So, yeah. Oh, now Sholma's with us. Awesome. Is Iris gonna join us, too, for the final case? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Great Ace Attorney 2 is like. It might even be better than this one. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Typically, I tend to think sequels are better. As is with the case of Ace Attorney, well, like, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't know. Justice for All and Trials and Tribulations are very good sequels, for example. And I'm also of the belief that Ace Attorney Investigations 2 is better. And I'm not sure about the 3DS Ace Attorney games, because I'm not as familiar with them. But yeah, this was wonderful. Never for a moment did I stop enjoying this game. So, I guess that's my experience. This was a very great first Ace Attorney game for me to actually play on the channel. Because my past with Ace Attorney, I grew up loving Ace Attorney. I've been into Ace Attorney for about 10 years now. I watched it first back when I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I've loved it ever since. I've seen all the games, except for Professor Layton and the 8 Great Ace Attorney games. And it makes me really glad I was able to experience this for the first time by myself, and not while watching someone. Feels more special that way. So yeah, I would like to keep it that way. And if there ever releases a new Ace Attorney game, you can bet your ass that I'm gonna play that. Whether it be a Phoenix Wright game, an Edgeworth game, a Great Ace Attorney game, I don't care what it is, I'll play it. Cause I eat this shit up. That's also a wonderful picture. Oh, that's a great title screen. I guess we can select an adventure to play now, huh? Yeah, so at some point we will play Great Ace Attorney 2. But obviously, it'll take a while for me to get to that, because, you know, I obviously want to play other things. So, yeah. Oh, alright. Well, I'm tired. It's getting late. It's like 11:30 p.m., but it was worth staying up to finish this game. Sadly, I didn't get to finish it in March, but whatever. I get too picky about shit like that. So, you might be asking yourself, what is my next series on the channel? Well, to that I can say, it is a game that Zeppy has recommended me to play for a while now. I am going to be playing Touhou 6, Embodiment of the Scarlet Devil, on the channel. Because it's about high time that I played a real Touhou game. Not that I didn't love Touhou Luna Nights and that I don't think it's a great game, but I want to play a standard bullet hell Touhou game and see how good I am at it, and see if I suck ass. Yeah. My puzzle game saga might also continue on the channel as well. I've been really enjoying this puzzle game saga on the channel in 2023. That's a wonderful surprise that I've delved myself into. There's a lot of games. I gotta check out, like, the Puyo Puyo series, like, in its entirety, honestly, because there's so many Puyo Puyo games that I need to play on the channel. And, yeah, I definitely want to do that. I don't know which difficulty I'm gonna play them on, though. We'll see. They could be deserving of individual parts, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, that'll be it for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. As always, guys, make sure to like and subscribe to me on YouTube and twitch.tv/minusbros. Of course. And I hope you guys enjoyed this long-ass finale. Because I sure did. So, with that being said, I'm gonna get going for the night. Oh god, it's almost 12 in the morning. Good lord. Okay. Well, for real though, I'm gonna go, and I can't wait to see everybody in my next series. So, take care.